everybody. So I have been super excited and procrastinating about making this video. I know well, my hair wants to come out and say hello. Hi guys. I've actually had it planned out for a while, but I just, again, I had to get around to it. Here I am, around to it. And it is about crystals. Yay! Follow me on social media. If you do not, you should. At Miss Leisha on Instagram, at LezzyLovesVeggies on Facebook, at LLV on YT on Twitter. Also at Miss Leisha on Snap. I'll put all of that in the bio right below. While you're down there, go ahead and click that subscribe button. A few more videos coming for you in the next few weeks, and I would hate for you to miss them. Let's talk about crystals. So aside from being super pretty, there are some really awesome metaphysical properties that are applied to them, can be applied to them, whatever. You can use them in healing. You can use them to enhance your meditation. What's the word I'm looking for? They're just really great entities to incorporate in your lifestyle, and it's super easy to do it. I know it can be kind of overwhelming, or at least it was for me at first, because it seems like, well, now I have this crystal, what am I supposed to do with it? And there's so many crystals, which one should I get? I need them all. I'll share a little bit of my journey with crystals. I've always liked them, but I recently got really called to them, and my first crystal kind of found me. I actually have a video about that. I'll link below. That was my selenite crystal that I will be showing you and talking a little bit about in this video too. So, you don't have to go out and find something. If you really want something for yourself, it will work its way into your life. Promise. So let's get into a little bit about crystals. So just a little history. Crystal healing is not new. I know it recently just became, well, not recently. Crystals are not new. They're super old. Working with crystals is also not new. History is just not my favorite subject. I'm sorry. It's not. I don't like it. In ancient Sumerian, I have like a little cheat sheet because this is not stuff I know off the top. Sumerians, they used crystals in magic formulas. There was an amber amulet that was found in Russia that they dated at least 30,000 years old. And an amulet, of course, is a pendant or a talisman or something that you hold, like carry with you as like a lucky charm. Sumerians liked to use lapis lazuli, which is this really, really pretty deep dark blue. Turquoise, which I feel like everyone knows. Carnelian, a pretty orange and red color. And then they also used emerald, which of course is green, and clear quartz, which we will be talking about today. Greeks, they're the ones that coined the term crystal because they thought that it was water that was super frozen that could never be unthawed. Greeks also came up with the word amethyst. It literally means not drunken. So they would try to they'd like adorn a table with amethyst when they were gonna have like big feasts with lots of wine to try to stop from being drunk. And then if that didn't work, they would like wear them, put them on their head, or pieces of amethyst like on hats and stuff if they were hungover. Hematite, again, they came up with that. We have the Greeks to thank for that word. It means blood. They would wear that in battle to try to help make themselves invulnerable. I have a visitor. See your snout. Hi, Josephine. I'm busy right now. Then keep going back to like ancient traditions. Jade was used in China and in Mexico. It's still used as a kidney healing stone in New Zealand, and it represents like ancestor spirits, and it can still represent luck. Okay. If you hear some growling, sniffling, barking, weird noises, it is my dogs. Anyway, so yeah, let's move on to the fun stuff. How do crystals work? So crystals are formed when atoms, molecules, or ions are packed under pressure, and then they grow by a process called nucleation. And nucleation can either be assisted or unassisted. And then, I'm not very scientific, so like, just bear with me. So you have all these molecules like bumping around, they're like going like this. And then every once in a while when the molecules hit each other, they stay attached. And when they stick together without breaking apart, they attract other molecules, and then that cycle process keeps happening and forms an aggregate. And the aggregate is called a proto or pre-crystal. So that happens, the pre-crystal reaches a critical mass and begins to solidify with help of solid molecules. That is the end of my Bill Nye segment of this video. That's where we get into the metaphysics part of it, because all of the movement and the energy, it creates an energy pattern, just like everything else that's around us. It has a different form, a sound, a color, movement, and the metaphysical term, of course, of all of that movement would be its vibration. So each crystal obviously looks, feels different, has different densities, different colors, different forms, different shapes. So each different crystal will have its own vibration, which is why some stones are better for your crown or your seventh chakra. Some are really grounding stones, which is the complete opposite, which is your first chakra, your root chakra. That's because of their vibrations. So since we're all comprised of energy and vibrations, like we all have our own energetic field. I'm getting very metaphysical because of that. Then certain crystals will help benefit us in a certain way, assist us in growing certain parts of ourselves, healing certain parts of ourselves. That's why they aid in meditation, depending on what you're trying to do. And then you can also just like put them in spaces. Like I have a crystal altar because I don't really have a place for all of my crystals yet. Sometimes I'll rearrange them depending on moon cycles. No, that's a whole other video, but you can put a selenite in a room that you feel like there might be some negative energy in it. It'll help with that. Or if you meditate in a certain space, like put some selenite or some amethyst in the room. You don't have to always like carry them on your person, like you know, you don't have to do that. If you want to know more about like the scientific part of it, or if you want to get more into the molecular process, which I guess is the scientific part of it, I encourage you to share what you find with me, because science and history just aren't my favorite subjects. And there's that. Okay, so let's get into how different crystals can simulate different energies. Have a few crystals. I actually put this video out like a month ago. That's how procrastinating I've been. Can someone be procrastinating? I've gotten a few more crystals since then, but I picked a few that are my favorite to work with and that I've been working with the most. And then we'll get really, really quickly into like how I clean them and how I charge them and all that other stuff. So first, let's talk about selenite. This is my first crystal. This is just a form. The light is catching this and it's like glowing. I'm living for the way the selenite looks right now. This is my first crystal that found me, and again, like there's a link to that video in my description box. And what selenite is going to do is going to enhance, and I'm reading, mental clarity, decision making, truth, honesty, emotional well-being, and it's associated with the moon. My favorite. I love the moon. Obsessed with the moon. And it brings about associations and energies of the unconscious, of your instinct and subconscious, and it also enhances your meditations. So I actually just got this at Home Goods, guys. Crystals are pretty popular, so you can get some in some kind of mainstream feeling places. You have to make your own decision about how you feel about laboratory created crystals, just like the same if you're buying jewelry. Do you want raw amethyst or do you want something that was engineered? That's your decision. Okay. So moving on, this is one of the first crystals I have. I have a couple of these. These are more of the ones that I have that are palatable, you don't eat these, easier to hold, keep with you. I actually used to put them in my bra and hang them out right here, because I usually don't have pockets. Shout out women designers, can we get some fucking pockets? So this African turquoise is actually Jasper. See how gorgeous that is? So pretty. So its name is only called African turquoise because it appears like it's turquoise. It is a stone of evolution and transformation. So I've been working a lot with this. If you saw my video about becoming my best self 6 months ago, which I will be revisiting as well, you know I've been really doing a lot of soul energy work on myself. And so this stone has been one I've been handling and working with a lot. So it also opens possibilities of newness. It helps see a need for development and metamorphosis, greater wisdom, and initiates pathways to a focused mind. This is one of my favorite stones, and is mostly because of the properties that I'll go over, but also because I love the way that this is shaped. It fits in my hand. I immediately feel grounded when I hold this stone. So this is polychrome jasper. It helps enhance exuberance, vitality, physical energy, ideas of concepts, just general ideas, sex. It's associated with the fire element. Hello. Like I said, as soon as I palm it in my hand, I just feel better. I actually have goosebumps. Can you see those? Clear quartz. This is a really gorgeous clear quartz cluster that my stepmom actually gifted to me past Christmas. And I do have like some tinier, like this size clear quartz pieces, but this is just my really big piece that I wanted to share with you, with lots of points on it, which is really great as an energy amplifier. If you have one tall crystal point, like similar to this, but in clear quartz, you can use that with your crystal grid, and it helps amplify all the energy from the crystal surrounding it. Anyway, so clear quartz is known as a master healer, amplifies energy and thought. It also amplifies other crystals, and it neutralizes negative energies, acts as a deep soul cleanser, enhances psychic abilities, aids concentration, unlocks memory, and brings bodies to balance. There are, I don't even know how many different types of quartz there are. This is, in my opinion, a good first stone, just like selenite. Selenite was my first stone, so of course I'm a little biased, but this is a really great first crystal, in my opinion, because it's kind of a universal crystal, and like I feel like everyone can benefit from one of the metaphysical properties that clear quartz has. So I recommend clear quartz. You don't need this big huge cluster, of course. You can get little ones at your local crystal shop. Any store that's kind of like a spiritual hippie witchy store will usually have crystals, and online is also a really great source, but I would recommend going through Etsy and not so much like through one of the wholesalers. But that's my personal preference. Like, you do you, boo boo. This is I have a really big cluster also gifted to me by my stepmother over Christmas. But since I just showed this big clear quartz crystal, I showed like, this is my amethyst. This has gone with me in so many different places. Also, hi, it's a heart. You see it? This lighting is like making my crystals go. I'm kind of living. Okay, so amethyst is probably my favorite crystal, and I think that's because I have a very active third eye chakra, and amethyst helps you to open that up. So I think that I'm just drawn to amethyst, and also it reminds me of my mom's mom because of the purple. I love amethyst because I love her. So amethyst is nature's tranquilizer. Let me back up off you. Nature's tranquilizer. It calms, soothes, and transforms energies into positive ones. It helps with head trauma. Remember we talked about the whole like hangover thing. It has association with the crown chakra. It also helps guide your intuition, become more intuitive, curbs overindulgence, makes for way deeper intimate connections, and also can help you kind of harness your psychic ability. I want to talk about salt really quick. There's a lot of hype over these Himalayan salt lamps, and I have one. Hello, I actually just bought some Himalayan pink salt today. If you're talking about food, that is a salt you should be using. You shouldn't be using any salt, but Himalayan pink salt. It's not a joke. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are some people who make like fake Himalayan pink salt lamps, and shame on them. Himalayan pink salt is the real deal. Salt in general is the real deal. It is cleansing. It emits negative ions, which creates a positive atmosphere. It will release attachment. It's grounding, it's centering, and it's supposed to bring about abundance and help you with a rich home life. So if you see a Himalayan pink salt lamp, or you see pink salt at the grocery store, like, pick it up. Salt is the bomb. It's cleansing. That's why most people feel better when they get into the ocean. I also wanted to talk real quick about rose quartz. I have a rose quartz pipe that was gifted to me, and I'm not going to show it to you because it's dirty, but it's really cool. It's a point. You can see them again if you Google, you know, rose quartz point pipes or any kind. You can get like crazy, like hookah looking ones even, and if you're looking for a gift for me, I want one of those. But anyway, so I got a rose quartz one. I was told, like, pick out whichever one you wanted, and I had no idea. This was very at the beginning of my crystal journey. I picked it because it was pink, like, to be completely honest. And so when it finally came, I picked it up, and I felt this like zap. Not a literal zap, like someone had electricity like poked me, but I felt a zap of this energy, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. You know, this is this crystal I was supposed to have. Awesome. Then when I was looking up properties of the different crystals I wanted to talk to you about today, I glanced over rose quartz because I knew I wasn't going to like show mine. And it says that it nurtures a sense of self if someone has lost one's mother at a young age. My mother died when I was 7. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to get into how I use, it's not how I use, but how I like care for my crystals. There are a couple things you want to know or that are important to think about when you're using crystals. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the energies, and really just in general. I always cleanse my crystals before I start to work with them. You don't know what kind of energies they've picked up. You don't know who's handling them, what the intent was. It's always just great to cleanse them, and to cleanse them every so often. There's no set schedule. You don't have to, you could really just never cleanse your crystals. It's really your prerogative. Whatever you feel like your intuition is telling you to do, then that's what you should follow. I generally follow the cycles of the moon. I like to charge, which I'll get to in a second, my crystals on the full moon of the month. So I usually will cleanse them before they go get charged, but that's just me. So there are a few ways you can cleanse your crystal. I'm going to get into the way I do it just real quick for the sake of time. I use Palo Santo. So Palo Santo it's going to be a stick that looks like this. It is similar to sage smudging. Most people know what that is. So it's the same idea. What Palo Santo is from a sacred tree that once it falls, you don't cut it down. Once it falls, it sits for a while and then they're harvested. It smells like, well, this smells like incense because it's in the same drawer. It smells piney. Whenever I smudge, or use Palo Santo and cleanse our house. My wife thinks it smells like a barbecue. It goes away. Just like a little quick tidbit. There was a study done with sage smudging in 50 countries on 5 different continents, and they would go into a closed room and they would burn sage, and they found that the aerial bacterial population, like smudging the sage, caused a 94% reduction of bacterial counts after an hour of sage burning. And when they closed the room off, that lasted 24 hours. That to me, like, I tell people that are like, oh, like sage smudging, Palo Santo, like I don't believe in that. Okay, well, worst case scenario, you've cleaned your house. So like just give it the benefit of the doubt. But it's not gonna hurt you. So I do that. I put my burning Palo Santo in an abalone shell. I will probably do another video on that because that can take a while. So the other options you can have, you can submerge them. You can submerge them into Himalayan salt because they're cleansing, like we talked about. If you have access to a backyard that is your own, you can dig a hole and put them in the soil for a few hours. The earth is just a great energy zapper in so many ways. So that's really, once I have access to that, I will probably do that as well. Maybe like a burlap bag, just so you don't get like dirt all in these like super pretty crevices and stuff. Then you can also run them underwater. The problem with that is that you just want to make sure that the crystal you're working with isn't going to melt away. After a while, some crystals can, like water will wash them away. So you just want to make sure that what you're working with, like a hard crystal like quartz or even amethyst, I would assume Jasper, garnet, those aren't going to wash away. I can't, of course, think of something that I thought aside from salt. But just be careful. I would suggest charging your crystals, and you can do that in 2 different ways. You can also even say that like cleansing and charging is the same thing when you use them in these 2 aspects, either in sunlight or in moonlight. Some people really like working with the energies of the sun, or Gaia, G-A-I-A. I am personally more drawn and attracted to the moon, so I like to use cycles of the moon. The other thing you want to be careful with when you're working with sunlight to cleanse your crystals is if you're working with a colored stone, they will fade. They lose their color. Whereas moonlight, you don't have that. Full moons in general are just so great for releasing things. Like, I just can't imagine that they don't release energy from my crystals. So I think that was about all that I wanted to talk to you about today. If you feel like you want to start working with crystals, I would just pick one thing. Like, why do you want the crystal? Is it because you want, to help with your meditations? That was for me. Like, look it up. Or go into a crystal shop. Go on Etsy. Which crystal calls your name? Not, ooh, this one's really pretty, but like calls your name. Whichever one that is, pick that one up. That one was probably meant for you. That's what happened with my selenite. I did not go looking for a crystal, and when I looked this up, it was like everything that I was looking for. So things will find you. Your crystals will find you. If you have any questions, comment below. If you have any comments, comment below. If you have questions and comments, comment below and subscribe. I really love you guys. I hope you learned something from this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.